Hello, and welcome to this training on HUD's Public Housing Jobs Plus Earned Income Disregard, also known as JPEID. This training is intended for Public Housing Authority staff administering a Jobs Plus grant. During this training, we're going to discuss the financial rent incentive for residents covered under JPEID. This training will assist PHAs in understanding the purpose of the Jobs Plus program, determining the JPEID, understanding the relationship between JPEID and the operating subsidy, and how to calculate the adjusted formula income. The Jobs Plus program develops locally based, job-driven approaches to increasing earnings and advance employment outcomes through work readiness, employer linkages, job placement, educational advancement technology skills, and financial literacy for residents of public housing. A PHA's annual formula income must be adjusted if the PHA participates in the Jobs Plus program. PHAs are not permitted to receive operating subsidy grant amounts based on rent not collected due to income disregarded while administering a Jobs Plus program, such as JPEID. Since HUD pre-populates formula income with data from the financial data schedule, the JPEID results in an increase to the operating subsidy grant. To ensure that PHAs did not receive additional OPSUB funds because of their participation in JPEID, the pre-populated formula income data must be adjusted to reverse the rent reduction caused by the income disregard. JPEID affects the per unit month formula income portion of the operating subsidy formula. Note that the eligible uses and calculation of operating subsidy are discussed in another training. Lower formula income results in higher operating subsidy eligibility. JPEID disregards the income of the participant, resulting in a lower per unit month formula income. PHAs participating in JPEID are reimbursed for the lost rent or income through the Jobs Plus grant and should not receive that difference from operating subsidy. To determine the adjustment in the formula income, the PHA submits worksheets to PIH's Community and Supportive Services team detailing the rent reductions caused by the JPEID income disregards. This data is validated by the JPEID team and then used as part of the OPSUB process to reverse the rent reductions caused by the JPEID income disregards. HUD will use the JPEID rent reduction data submitted by the PHA and validated by the CSS team to make a manual adjustment to the PHA's Form HUD 52723 after submission. Your PHA's current and historic operating subsidy grant data can be viewed in the Operating Fund web portal. Form HUD 52723 is used by both the PHA and HUD to determine the annual operating subsidy. PHAs that administer a Jobs Plus grant must manually adjust the per unit month formula income on Form HUD 52723. HUD pre-populates formula income with tenant rent data from the financial data schedule. Therefore, for PHAs participating in JPEID, decreased formula income as a result of the income disregards in JPEID are incorporated in the formula income. As mentioned, to ensure that PHAs do not receive additional operating sub-funds because of their participation in JPEID, the pre-populated formula income data must be adjusted to reverse the rent reduction caused by the income disregard. PHAs must adjust only line 1, Part B, of the 52723. The per unit month formula income is the net tenant rental revenue divided by the number of unit months leased. For JPEID, however, the PHA will use the eligible unit months rather than unit months leased, as demonstrated in the next slide. Form HUD 52723, Section 2, Column B, Line 15, is where the PHA can find the eligible unit months. EUM is used rather than unit months leased because JPEID can be backed out of the operating fund formula, dollar for dollar. Once the PHA has identified the PUM and the EUM on the Form HUD 52723, the PHA must use the worksheet posted on the calendar year operating fund grant processing website to calculate their adjusted formula income. The calculation is completed using the following as shown in the worksheet example. The PUM formula income is $300, usually pre-populated in the Form HUD 52723. The JPEID adjustment amount, which the PHA validated through PIH's Community and Supportive Services team is $40,000. The EUM, also pre-populated in the Form HUD 52723, is $1,500. The revised JPEID adjustment divided by the eligible unit months is $26.67. And the adjusted PUM formula income, as shown in the last column, is $326.67. The next slide will demonstrate how the adjusted formula income is determined. A PHA can determine the adjusted formula income by dividing the total amount of earned income excluded for the participants benefiting from JPEID into the eligible unit months. In our worksheet example, the total amount of excluded income was $40,000. The number of eligible unit months was 1,500. The PUM formula income was $300. The amount that the PUM formula increased is $26.67, which is the excluded income divided by EUMs. This amount is added to the PUM formula income and becomes the adjusted PUM formula income. The PHA's adjusted PUM formula income increases from $300 to $326.67. This increase results in a lower operating subsidy eligibility, which has been reimbursed by the Jobs Plus grant. Once the adjusted PUM formula income is calculated, the PHA must manually adjust the PUM formula income in Form HUD 52723, Section 3, Part B, Line 1. This manual adjustment will reverse the impact of rent reductions caused by the JPEID. The PHA should include a comment on the Form HUD 52723 that the formula income was adjusted to comply with JPEID requirements. The HUD field office must review the submission before forwarding the PHA-corrected or PHA-derived formula income to HUD's Office of Public Housing Financial Management Division, or FMD. If the PHA has not made the adjustment, or the field office detects any errors, the submission must be returned to the PHA for correction. The field office may request additional documentation as needed. HUD may also require additional documentation on how the PHA has calculated the JPEID and the adjustment of the PUM formula income. HUD requires that the PHA use data from the fiscal year ending 2 years before the funding year. If the PHA has a fiscal year end of 6/30, for the funding year 2023, the financial data for the PHA's fiscal year end 6/30/2021 must be used. It's also important to remember that HUD will post the PHA tools for the forms HUD 52723 and HUD 52722 in the Operating Fund web portal. PHAs must submit their completed PHA tools through the OpFund web portal's PHA form 52723, 52722 submission module by the published due date. PHAs should not submit their PHA tools by email. PHAs that participate in the Jobs Plus program can provide a great financial or rent incentive to their participants through JPEID. JPEID allows PHAs to remove a major disincentive to employment and work-related expenses by neutralizing any rent increases due to rising earned income. In order to prevent overpayment of HUD funds to grant recipients, the PHA must manually adjust the PUM formula income. Since the lower the formula income, the higher the operating subsidy eligibility, PHAs must reverse the rent reduction caused by the JPEID in the formula income. Calculating the adjustment and submitting the adjusted PUM formula income on the Form HUD 52723 ensures that the PHA operating subsidy is accurate. Note that the formula income is entered into the Form HUD 52723 on a per-unit month basis. Therefore, the adjustment must be made on a per-unit month basis as well. The PHA will receive the lost rental income from the Jobs Plus grant. PHAs are encouraged to work with their field office to make sure that their operating subsidy is calculated correctly prior to the submission of the Form HUD 52723. This concludes the training on JPEID and the Jobs Plus program. This slide lists some additional resources for further information.